Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am. How are you doing, ma'am?
Fine. How you doing?
I'm also doing fine. Good to hear your voice.
Thank you.
I don't,
I
ma'am.
see that you've been busy. We've not been seeing your
Ah,
good lights.
as in family and friends. In fact, I just rushed in now from this class from one of my supervisors for my PhD.
Oh, okay.
So, yes. In fact, that means I've obviously not answered anyone now on WhatsApp or Facebook or anything like that. Because in fact, I just had to tell my coordinator, say, sir, I have a webinar by 1 o'clock. Now waited. Oh. After a while, now I said, okay, because if we went webinar, let me allow you go.
Hey.
Before I now started rushing down to see I was rushing down to the office.
So if you did not even
And
say 1 p.m., you would have still been there.
yes, so if I did not see 1 p.m., I would have still been there. I actually use I actually use 1 p.m.
As well.
So I'm glad to be here. That's just That's just it. But I've told myself now that I must always at night, thereabout, be able to at least to check on my people,
Yes, at least.
read things. Yes.
Okay. Let me try and call them in the office because I don't know why they've not joined in
Okay, that's fine.
and confirm the people that, because I know some people had reached out for the link and I've shared with them. So let me just make a
Okay,
phone call. Thank you.
no problem, ma'am.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. My name is Motolani Oyedeji, and today we are going to be looking at some important things that concerns um, our daily living because it looks like the issue of marriage, especially the statutory marriage, has become something to look at, something to discuss on. And today we have one of the legal luminaries with us, someone that understands marriage according to the law a lot and is passionate about family law. And we believe that beyond the laws and the legal jargons, as you all call it, we'll be able to understand the basic knowledge that you need to demystify these issues. So we have with us, all right, Aigbe. I want to be sure that I pronounced that correctly, and is a counseling psychologist and a family lawyer. Like I said, is keen about anything that concerns family and the law aspect of it. And he also takes counseling as important as any other thing. So, without wasting much of our time, we have Mr. Allright Aigbe, a legal practitioner, multi-passionate counselor on her personality, is a man of God and also a therapist with a passion for people, culture, and travel. Allright's love for life is evident in many hats he wears, like I just mentioned. As a lawyer with over 14 years at the bar, with a special interest in corporate and family law, he has a wealth of experience as a partner at Graceville Chambers, Lagos. Godswin Enebeli and Co. Makode, and associate of Nelson Bridge Solicitors, Ibadan. He's also a past provost of Nigerian Bar Association, Ibadan branch, leading the way in legal advocacy and providing top-notch legal services to his clients through the Family Lawyers, a firm without borders. As a renowned sex and relationship counselor with over 20 years of counseling and therapy experience, Allright is the chairman of Allright's Passion Counselors Network, an international network of therapists and counselors specializing in sex, family, mental health, and relationship issues. Is also an alumnus of the Institute of Marriage and Family USA, TIMFA, and its Ibadan regional coordinator. He is a counselor with Homemaking Institute Ibadan and a volunteer counselor with FIDA, International Federation of Women Lawyers, Ibadan branch. Allright is a member of the Counseling Association of Nigeria, CASON, and is the weekly discussant on Table of Men on Wells Radio 89.3 FM Ibadan. He completed a master's degree in marriage and family life counseling, University of Ibadan in 2024. He is currently taking the Family System Engineering certificate from the Institute of Family Engineering and Development. Allright's Christian faith is central to his life, and he serves as an associate pastor of Global Harvest Church, Victor Adeyemi Ministries, Outer Ring Road branch, Ibadan. He's also a volunteer facilitator at the Queen's Church, where he helps young people navigate the complexities of growing up. Commissioned and ordained into ministry in the year 2013 at Word Aflame Family Church, Makodi. He is also on the board of trustees of Christian Service Mission, ERA, and other faith-based incorporations. Allright's love for writing and public speaking on Christian faith matters has seen him become an acclaimed speaker, delivering engaging and informative talks on topics ranging from sex and relationships to family and mental health. All right is a regular contributor on sex, marriage, and law matters for Punch and Tribune newspapers. In his spare time, Earl enjoys playing the harmonica, trying out new local delicacies, and exploring different cultures. He's happily married to his beautiful wife, Vivian Timber, and together they are raising their two amazing children, Akon and Tylad. All right, the man who introduces himself with the words, "My name is Hell and I am all right," is an inspiration to many and a true testament to living a life filled with purpose and joy. Get ready to be inspired, educated, and enlightened, and also entertained, and stay blessed. Thank you very much. I want to believe that this has helped to understand who is going to be speaking with us. And also, let us hope that all the questions we have as regards marriage, raising children, and all will be answered. Thank you. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. How are you all doing? And the rest. Okay, so I would like to know that I am dealing with people, right? So I want to know, like to know that I'm dealing with people. I may not stress you to put on your cameras, but if you want to put on your cameras, that is fine because I'm also about putting on my own so that you can see my face and I'll be able to also see your face. But then, sir, I know that I'm not having a radio conversation, right? If it's on radio and I'm having a radio conversation, that's fine. That's very, very good, right? I will say, oh, let's go on. So even if your camera is not on, although I would prefer your camera to be on, but if your camera is not on, I'll be very glad if you at least you're able to join us in the chat conversation. So while we are having the chats, we are having these discussions on the chat, we are able to see your face, all right? We should be able to see your face. Thank you so much, Motolani, for having me, and thank you for everyone who is participating today. I am glad that you are joining me. But then before we go on, we are talking about the common misconceptions that people have of statutory marriages, of court marriages in Nigeria, right? So we are looking at these misconceptions today. And so a time will come that I will actually want us to gist and I want us to see how we can have these conversations together. So thank you so much for joining me and thank you for having me. But then before I go on, I want us to participate in the game, right? It's a simple game. See my box. It is how Nigerian are you, right? The game has to do with how Nigerian are you. So I want to know how Nigerian you are. I want us to play the game. So the first person to either unmute himself to answer or the first person to drop it in the comment section becomes the winner per se of that particular question. So let's see. I will start by asking 5 questions thereabout, and let's see who would get this round of the first 5 questions that I would be asking before we go straight into the common misconceptions that we have about court marriage. Interestingly, we are talking about court marriage, and talking about court marriage has to do with how much we even know our country and how much we know the laws that regulate us, how much we know the laws that guide us, how much we know the laws that we are under. So let's do and let's go. So I just shuffle some of these cards, right? So I want to see first person to unmute himself and answer correctly, or first person to answer correctly in the chat section. Of course, that person will be getting the points. What is it that is going to be for the person that has the highest points out of these first 5 cards? Well, I don't know yet. Or maybe I want to keep it to myself. I'm having it reserved for now. Let me first of all see how many people. So you never can tell what it will be. It might be as big as 1,000 naira recharge card. It can be as small as 5 liters of fuel. It can be as we don't know. It can be as good as a presidential handshake, right? So here are my cards. Oh man, I got some falling out of it, and so here are my cards. But then before I even continue with these cards, I just want to just drop in the comment section for me where you are joining from. That is the city, the town you are joining from, and also not just the city and town you are joining from, and also the maybe what you do, right? So you can tell me the city and town where you are joining from, and also what you do. I would like to know that. Don't mind me, right? So I would like to know that. Can you do that for me? If it's something you, if it's something you can do. Someone says that likes the sound of oil. Even me, I like the sound of oil too. I like it. Okay, Omotayo, thank you. Akatant Omotayo, thank you. Somebody just said Ibadan, your state. Okay, thank you for joining us from Ibadan, your state. Great. Omotayo is joining us from Abeokuta. That's nice, and I'm looking forward to visiting Abeokuta. Sincerely, I'm looking forward to visiting Abeokuta again. I was thinking of maybe my wife and I can come to that city and hang out for a weekend, like we usually just do. So perhaps maybe I'll come back to your city. Okay, thank you again, Peter, for joining from Abeokuta. Thank you, Olamide, for joining from Abeokuta. It's good to have you people here. I am blessed and I'm glad that you guys are here. All right. Okay. So let's do it. Here are my cards. Let me pull one out and let's see. Somebody else is joining from Ibadan or Olushiku. Thank you. Olashiku. Thank you. Thank you. Um, Nigeria shares its longest western land border with this country, which is home to the former kingdom of Dahomey. Nigeria shares its longest western land border with this country, which is home to the former kingdom of Dahomey.
Benin Republic.
Correct, Benin Republic. Who answered?
I did, Adeleke.
Okay, Adeleke Peter. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Adeleke Peter, because I'm seeing somebody that is iPhone class governor. I wonder how N9 agreed to give you N9 and BVN with that. There's somebody joining from Ogbomoso. Thank you. Everyone joining from Ogun State. Ogun State seems to be leading today. So Peter has 1 point out of 5. Christopher from Abeokuta, thank you so much for joining us. So I'm pulling out second card. This state, created from parts of Enugu and Abia states, is known for the Okposi and Uburu salt lakes. Abakaliki is located there.
Ebonyi State.
Peter, you ran and did the state capital, Abia, Umuahia, Adamawa, because I'm looking at you right now, and I could see the way your head was moving, and you quickly did the Abia, Umuahia, Adamawa. You said what?
Just things, yeah.
So, but anyway, yeah, there's no problem with that. You got it. So since you got it, why should I complain, right? as long as you got it, so there's actually no complaint. So here's my card again. I'm going to pull out. So Peter has 2 points out of the 5 points already. So we have another one. It says, let me try it out to see if any person can get this. Oguta Lake, one of the largest natural lakes in Nigeria, is in this eastern heartland state.
Abia State.
Okay, we have someone raising his hand. Professor Oyelade, you can unmute your mic, sir.
Hello.
We can hear you loud and clear. We can hear you loud and clear, sir.
Good afternoon. I'm just joining in.
Oh, your hand is
And
raised, sir.
yes, I just wanted to know exactly what we're doing because I know
Okay.
somebody asking questions. Is
Yes.
it a question session?
Yes, the session has started. The speaker was trying to get our attention with before the session starts proper.
Okay.
That's Thank you. Sorry. I don't know how I got kicked out, but forgive me. I'm glad to be back. Forgive me, I got kicked out. I don't know how that happened, but it's good to be back here. Right. So now we have 3 questions to go. 3 questions to go before we hit our session. Right. So here's my cards again. This city is home to the town of Chibok and to Kiarimi Park. At least Chibok would have reminded us of Chibok, right? Chibok girls. Okay, so here, the 4th card, Peter is still leading. This is an Igbo card. We have done something from the East before, so let me pull this. What do the 2 horses on the Nigerian coat of arms represent? The 2 horses on the Nigerian coat of arms. This is another word for being worthy and another word for
dignity and pride.
Dignity. Who said dignity?
I know.
I can't see your face, so please mention your name.
Name is Omoni.
Oh, Omoni. So Omoni has 1 point, Christopher has 1 point, and Peter has 2 points. So the last point, let's see. If another person gets the answer, so it means Peter won. If one of the persons that have answered before gets the answer, it means that there's a draw. The last card for this session. What do the Edo people call their traditional ruler and custodian of their culture?
Oba.
Thank you. Who got that? I got it. So you see, so Peter has 3 points. Peter, were you the one that said you needed 5 liters of oil?
No, at all.
Okay, you're not the person. So we'll think about what gift we'll give to you regarding. We'll think about what gift we'll give to you before the end. But anyway, we still have a lot of cards that we're going to play. So let's just see who are the other people that are going to win. My name is Alright Egbe, and as the introduction has said, I'm a family lawyer and I'm also a counseling psychologist. One of the things that I enjoy doing the most is helping people understand family, or rather help people enjoy family better, right? I try to see how to help people enjoy family life better, enjoy marriage, enjoy family, and be able to see how I can help them better their family. This responsibility as a lawyer means that I'm a family lawyer, right? And the responsibility as a counseling psychologist means that I'm a marriage and family life counseling psychologist. And I'm so glad to be here today having this conversation with us, right? So today our conversation is primarily focused on the misconceptions that people have about statutory marriage, or what Nigerians would just generally call court marriage, right? We just like to call it court marriage. And I have asked myself again and again, why would people call this court marriage? Like, what's the whole idea? Why do people call this court marriage? Why don't they call it something else? Why are we calling it court marriage? Why are we not calling it local government marriage, since most of the marriage registries are actually situated in our local government secretariats, right? So why are people not calling it local government marriage. But you see, I came to understand and from conversation with people that the reason why people call this court marriage to a large extent is because they believe that it is based on a law, right? They believe that it is based on a law. And so if you want to do anything regarding this marriage, it is legal. You may need a lawyer. You may have to go to court. And so there's just the idea. So everybody just narrow it down to court marriage. In reality, I think that's the first misconception I will want to correct today. That although generally out there we may call it court marriage, in law, what it is actually called is statutory marriage. Now, statutory marriage in the sense that it's a marriage that is based on a statute, right? Based on a written law that is enacted, that came into force by our government, by the federal government of Nigeria, by the government of our country, right? So you may want to say, oh, that is the reason why people are so like, tell me something about this particular law or this particular type of marriage. So the first misconception is that it is actually not a court marriage, because you don't do the marriage in a court. People think that room where the ceremony happens and there's this officer, the officer must actually be a judge who does this, who does that, and gets to do all of that, that person must be a judge, and so it is a courtroom. You are trying to get into a marriage that is based on the Marriage Act, and the rest, so it is court. No. First misconception is not a court marriage. And the place where the marriage is conducted is not in a court. In fact, you cannot even conduct the marriage in a court. And I'm using what the law says, because the law says actually that you are only supposed to contract this marriage either at a marriage registry, right? Number one, at a marriage registry, at a registered and licensed place of worship, right? Or at any place or hall that the governor of the state licenses for the marriage. So the first thing you should realize that the law does not even say it's a marriage that you have to go and do in a court. It only says at a marriage registry. And because our constitution and the law gives the local government the power to conduct marriages, many local governments have a hall that serves now like as a registry, a registry in their local government secretariat or somewhere else where they can have this marriage, where they can, how will I say it, conduct this marriage. Mind you, while you can conduct the marriage in a marriage registry, you can also conduct it in a church that is registered for marriage. And then the clergy, the priests, the pastors, whosoever of that church or that religious body, they are licensed for marriage. You can choose to say, hey, I think I want to have my joining in a hall, or I think I want to have my joining in this particular place. And you apply to the governor of your state to approve that place for you for your marriage. And if it is approved, then that place also becomes a statutory marriage. So court marriage, first of all, means a statutory marriage, which can be conducted at the marriage registry, in a church or the religious place of worship that is licensed for marriage, or any other place that is licensed by the governor for marriage. And the person who conducts the marriage must not be a judge. It's not even a judge. In the local government, it's just a local government staff, a registrar. Right? It's just somebody who is a registrar appointed to the office of a registrar. In a church, it's a pastor of that church, licensed in that church and licensed to do marriage. Then again, there's also the misconception that my court marriage or my registry marriage must it be done at a federal registry, marriage registry. We see people, for example, most people who are in Lagos wanted to have their marriage registry in Ikoyi, as if the marriage registry in Ikoyi that is owned and operated by the Ministry of Interiors is the only license and original place for you to have your marriage. No, no, no. As long as it's a marriage registry that is licensed by the government right now can be the Ministry of Interiors, which is the federal government, or the local government, right? As long as it's a marriage registry that is by law set up in a local government or anywhere else, you can have your marriage there, right? If it is a church, like I usually tell people, if it's a church, where the church, I said, where the church will give you the federal government marriage certificate. You may not be able to understand all the technicalities right now of the federal government certificate, but this is a simple way, is that once a certificate carries federal government of Nigeria, it carries the coat of arms, right? It says it is the Marriage Act. Once that is on your marriage certificate, there's a presumption that your marriage is a statutory marriage. So if you're asking right now, is my church registered for marriage? You can just simply go and ask them in that church, which certificate will you issue? Which certificate will you give to me at the end of the day? And you just want to see if the certificate is a long certificate that has the coat of arms, that has federal government of Nigeria and has the Marriage Act. If that is on the marriage certificate, the presumption is that it's most likely a church that is registered or licensed for marriage. Some other churches will tell you that, that in the course of you get to go and pick some forms and the rest. So if you do that, that is fine. One of them is misconception I would like to correct is the fact that some people have their marriages in a church that is registered and licensed for marriage, and yet still believe that before their marriage can be tagged the court marriage or the statutory marriage, then they have to go to a marriage registry to still do a court marriage. So at the end of the day, we are having these people now having two they are having two authentic marriage certificates. Their names now appear 2 times on the marriage register because they did not trust their church, or rather they felt that what happened in church was different from what happened at the marriage registry. No, it is one and the same. So if you're doing your wedding, you're doing your journey in a church or in a place where you'll be giving the federal government marriage certificate that carries federal government of Nigeria, you can see your coat of arms, you can see the Marriage Act written on it, then there is no need for you again going to waste money, going to waste time at a marriage registry to get a statutory marriage, right? So that is one thing these are some of the misconceptions, some of the first misconceptions I will want us to correct so we don't even have issues. Well, there's another misconception again regarding it as to, like even when I was having my marriage, the marriage register kept on making us to say, I take you to be my love wedded wife, for better, for worse, in richer, for poorer. Right? You know all those gist, right? That's not what the law says. The law is very clear. It says, I take thee to be my lawful wedded wife, right? The Marriage Act is very clear regarding that. But let's go straight to further conversations on what misconceptions or some of the misconceptions that we may have. And then I would also want you over time to drop your questions in the comment section when that time comes so that I can answer your questions, right? So that when the time comes, I'll be able to answer your questions, right? So stay with me, don't go anywhere. Let's do this together, right? Now, there's a common misconception that people have, right? For those of us who live in the cities, it may not be so big, it may not be so loud. If you live in the cities like those of the places you have mentioned right now in the comment section, but there are people who think that registry marriage, statutory marriage, like going to the local government to file for marriage, to apply for marriage and get their marriage conducted at the marriage registry under the Marriage Act, is only for rich people or for big weddings, right? They think that is what it is only for. Why? Maybe because if you're not gonna be wearing suit, you wear white gown, you wear this, you wear that, and you now have to be signing paper. No, it is big people that do that kind of marriage now. Us, we just pay bride price and we move on. But in reality, customary marriage everywhere, almost everywhere, is still cheaper customary marriage everywhere is still cheaper than statutory marriage. When I got married in 2017, all the monies I spent, I mean, for the official money I spent and even the money I used in buying drinks and the rest and I used in spraying, was not up to 25,000 naira. That was in the year 2018, thereabout, right? The official fee I even paid was just about, was it 11,000 naira thereabout or so? I know today, like for example, the Ministry of Interior marriage registry in Ibadan, I was hearing somebody say, a client saying that whether it is about 120K right now, but even if it is 120K right now, it's still cheaper than some of the cheapest customary marriages, right? Some of the cheapest customary marriage, because some of the cheapest customary marriages in Nigeria happens to be like the customary marriage of my tribe. I am Asan. People call us Ishan, but we are actually Asan. Ishan is just the wrong spelling and pronunciation by the colonial masters. And my sister that got married about 2 years ago, her bride price was just 200 naira and the rest. And I remember my friends getting married and all the money he spent on his traditional marriage was not up to 45,000 naira. It was just about 45,000 naira. All the money he spent on his traditional marriage. And as of that time, the marriage registry fee, the fee for marriage registry in my state was 21,000. So no matter how you see it, or no matter the state where you come from, statutory marriage is still the cheapest form. Another misconception people have about statutory marriage is that they need the consent of their parents to be able to have this marriage, to conduct this marriage. No, no, no. Even some of the marriage registrars don't even fully understand this. I've seen situations where some marriage registry will want to tell you that you can even bring people to just stand, or if you are not bringing people and they say, well, we can do it, we can get to have people stand for you and the rest. But hey, come on, by the law, the age for marriage in Nigeria is 18. However, that's under most of our customary laws, based on the Child's Rights Act and the Child's Rights Law for states that have the Child's Rights Law. So the age for marriage is 18. However, under the Marriage Act, we are talking about statutory marriage now, which we generally call court marriage. The age for marriage is 18, but that 18 will be with parental consent. Then 21 without parental consent. So it means that if people are 21 years old and above today, they do not need parental consent to have a statutory marriage, right? They do not need parental consent to have a statutory marriage. So you don't have to say, oh, let's be waiting for our parents to travel down from the village, or you say, oh, our parents are not consenting, we want to still marry. They must be there. No. It's a misconception that you do not. So know this, you do not need the consent of your parents to have this particular type of marriage. Now, another very common misconception that people have about this kind of marriage is the fact that they think that once you do customary court marriage, or you do the statutory marriage right now, you are married under two systems. That means you are married under customary law and you're also married under statutory law. Now, and that's because for many people, they always do, okay, in this part of Nigeria, the Yoruba extraction of Nigeria, people usually call customary marriage engagement. I know that's the common thing. I have lived here for 11 years now, right? I have lived here now for about 11 years, and I've never heard any person say traditional marriage or customary marriage. The term they always use is engagement. In all of Nigeria, at least I have lived in 4 out of the 6 geopolitical zones of this country. So I think I have I can say something, right? If I have lived in 4 out of the 6 geopolitical zones, I think I can say something. This is the only part of the country where they call their traditional marriage engagements. I hear engagement. And when you go there, what you actually experience is a traditional marriage or it's a customary marriage, right? So we get to find that there are people who think that, oh, right now I have a customary marriage and I have a statutory marriage. In reality, once you have a statutory marriage, it has a way it supersedes every other type of marriage that you have. I know right now there are decisions of the courts that says that the statutory marriage is customary marriage is different from Islamic marriage, which is true. And they are trying to say statutory marriage does not supersede Islamic marriage. But trust us, these matters are still in court. And so I expect the courts to make new decisions about these matters in the next 3 years thereabout. And the court gave these reasons based on particularly 2 cases. One of them, the most recent one, was the fact that the man married his wife under statutory law, had a registry marriage, then went later to go and marry somebody else under Islamic marriage. And when he died, his first wife and the first wife's children were more or less like, no, their father had a statutory marriage, so his property, his estate, his things cannot be shared and divided based on Islamic law, right? Because the law says that statutory marriage supersedes customary marriage, and then the court had to interpret if Islamic marriage was customary marriage, right? So there's an error in the law, because before now in Nigeria, we have always seen that any marriage that is not statutory marriage is customary marriage. So those days we used to say customary marriages are of 2 types. One, the marriage that is based on the different customs and traditions of the different places of Nigeria, different tribes of Nigeria, and 2, Islamic marriage. But right now, the court has been able to differentiate that no, Islamic marriage is not customary marriage, and I agree with them. But however, I feel that the judges also made error, because the major reason why we have statutory marriage, the primary reason for statutory marriage, or rather the primary spirit behind statutory marriage, is monogamous marriage, monogamy, right? The spirit behind statutory marriage is monogamy. And that's why we have many women, if you have observed, we have more women clamoring for court marriage, statutory marriage, than we have men. Most men don't even want to do it. Many men just want to do only their customary marriage. But most women, because of the advantages of monogamy, right? The advantages of monogamy which statutory marriage offers them, always want to have a statutory marriage. And so that's the spirit of statutory marriage, monogamy. So anything that alters that monogamy, obviously violates the spirit of the law, right? Violates the spirit of the law. So we are very sure that in about 3 years, 5 years, the Supreme Court of Nigeria, the Court of Appeal, and the Supreme Court of Nigeria would have revisited this and address it, right? So once you do a statutory marriage and you do a court marriage, you may say you have the 2, but in reality, your statutory marriage supersedes your customary marriage. Where there's any place where there is conflict between customary practice or something about customary law and statutory marriage, trust me, statutory marriage is the one that is going to win, is going to be the superior one. So people usually will have customary marriage first before going to have their marriage registry. However, today, we are seeing a situation where many people are having statutory marriage first before they are coming to have their, let me use the Yoruba word, engagement, right? I'm seeing it. In fact, I know I'm seeing many parents that will not agree to give out their daughter's hand in marriage until they already have statutory marriage. It is my argument that that is a crime, that is a law, that there's actually a section of the Marriage Act that forbids you from doing a customary marriage after a statutory marriage, right? There's actually a section that forbids you from doing that. Well, some people are still conflicting on that particular section, and that's because we don't have judgments on that section part like that. But the wordings of the sections are very clear, because if usually we always say that the last thing you did is the most important thing, right? Is the one that is most important to you, is the one that you finally approved of. So if you already have a statutory marriage that is monogamous, and you now later go and have a customary marriage that is polygamous, which of them will be superior to each other? Which of them will actually have sway? Well, this is to let you know, whether you have it before or you have it after the statutory marriage, will always be superior. And I have heard people say that you must do a traditional marriage first before your marriage registry will be valid. I've also heard people say that before you can say you are validly married in Nigeria, you must have a customary marriage. I don't know if you have heard anything like that. Can you just say yes? Can you raise your hand? Can you just drop a comment in the comment section? If you have heard that before, you hear people say, now the traditional marriage, now be the cocoa until you pay bride price. You never really marry the woman. Until they pay bride price for your head, they never really marry you. If you have heard that statement, you may want to raise your hand, you may want to unmute yourself and just say yes. You may want to just drop yes in the comment section. Anybody? Has anyone heard anything like that before? Have you heard a statement like that? Okay, Mr. Adeleke, Peter, thank you so much. Yes, it is something that we'll get to hear again and again. Thank you, Oluwaseyi. Thank you, Daniel. But you see, it's a major misconception. You do not need to do, thank you. You do not need to do, thank you, Aguda. Thank you, Oluwaseyi. Thank you, everyone. You do not need to do a customary marriage for your statutory marriage to be valid. See, we have 3 types of marriages in Nigeria. We have the customary marriage, we have the Islamic marriage, we have the statutory marriage. If you have plenty money, you can do all 3. If you say, well, although I have plenty of money, I don't want to do all 3. I want to do only one. You can do only one, and whichever one you did, you are married. So whether you did, if you do only a statutory marriage today, you are married in the eyes of the gods and in the eyes of humans. You are married in the eyes of the law, and you are married in the spirit of the tradition. So you must not do customary marriage first for your marriage to be valid. You must not do traditional marriage for your marriage to be valid. If all you have is a statutory marriage, right? Mind you, you can also have the you can choose to have only customary marriage or only Islamic marriage. Now, there's also a very, very popular misconception that people have about statutory marriage, right? Many people think that statutory marriage is the only marriage that gives you a marriage certificate. A marriage certificate that is binding, a legal marriage certificate, like for you to have a marriage certificate to prove that and show that, hey, you are married. People believe that it is only a statutory marriage that can give you that, but that is not true, right? In most states, they have their customary marriage rules and laws. In fact, even in Oyo State here, most people don't know that even in Oyo State, you can get a certificate for your customary marriage. In many other states, the rule is that you must, within 60 days, register your customary marriage in the closest customary court to the location of the traditional marriage. And so the registrar of the customary court is supposed to issue you a marriage certificate under customary law within 60 days of the customary marriage. Many people don't know that there are laws like this. But I'm sure some of you right now may never have seen a customary marriage certificate. I have seen customary marriage certificates. I have used them. For some of my cases. So it is a misconception that it is only statutory marriage that will give you marriage certificate. You can also get marriage certificate from the customary marriage if you go to the appropriate parastatal of government to get this certificate. So you want to go to that customary court closest to you to get advice, or you want to go to the local government closest to you to get advice. Let me say something. Unfortunately, many people do not know this. So even those registrars in the courts do not know. In this customary courts do not know. Even some of the officials in the local governments do not know, because the last time it was practiced was several years ago. So over time, people have not been applying for these certificates. And because there are now new people in this office, these new people in the offices don't know that something like this used to be done in this office, right? So they don't know it, right? Now, let me continue with this, with misconceptions. But I hope you are enjoying my conversation and I am not too fast. I know I'm a fast talker. I hope I'm not too fast. You are able to still enjoy the conversation. You are getting some questions answered as we ride on, right? Okay, now, I've already told you that your statutory marriage must not always be in a marriage registry. It can be in a registered licensed place of worship. It can be in any hall, place where you want it to be, as long as you have the required governor's consent for those particular place, right? Then there's a misconception that people have that the moment you have a church wedding, you automatically have a statutory marriage. No, please. I do understand that if you tell me right now that you married in Methodist, you married in Catholic, you married in Anglican, right? Maybe you married in Redeem, you married in Winners, you married in Global Harvest Church, right? There are some churches that I know that they are licensed for marriage and they always do everything to ensure that their members get the statutory certificate, right? So they follow the statutory law. They are licensed for it. I know there are people like that, right? There are churches like that, but it is not every church that is like that. Not every church. So don't just assume that because your friend married in church and your friend got a statutory certificate, marriage certificate, that you would automatically get a statutory certificate because you are getting married in a CAC. Right? So you need to confirm if your CAC parish is registered for marriage. You need to go there and ask the church marriage committee or ask the church office, which marriage certificate do you issue? I want to see the marriage certificate that is issued in this church. I want to see whether it is a federal government certificate. How do you get this certificate? Do you get it from Ministry of Interiors? Do you get it from, or you got it from the marriage registry, the local government? You want to verify that. You want to be very sure of that before you make your choice. So every church wedding is not a statutory marriage. Now, in the eyes of the law, if you marry in a church and they do not give you the statutory certificate, the federal government certificate, right, what you have in the eyes of the law is just a customary marriage. Why will it be a customary marriage? It's a customary marriage because you always hear, who give birth to these brides to be married? And you see the father. So in reality, it's not the priest. The priest only joins the people that the father gave. So we can still see the customary elements. And you see the priest coming or the pastor, the clergy coming to ask the father, oh, has this young man fulfilled all the requirements required by custom and tradition? And the father says yes. So many times, the law sees such marriages as customary marriage if the church does not issue statutory marriage certificate, right? Okay. Now, there's also a misconception that some people have that, oh, if their marriage certificate has the coat of arms, it is automatically a statutory marriage. Where it is a safe presumption. So that's why I usually say that the certificate has the coat of arms, it has the Federal Republic of Nigeria, it has the Marriage Act. It is a safe presumption that what you have is a statutory marriage unless that is rebutted, right? Unless that is rebutted. So that's why you want to ask your church if they are licensed for marriage, how do they get the certificate? Do they get it from the marriage registry, from the local government, from the Ministry of Interiors? If they get it from any of these three people, then yes, you can be relaxed and know that yes, this marriage is a statutory marriage, right? Then some people also believe that statutory marriage can be dissolved by a customary court. That means by dissolution right now, we mean the people who have a statutory marriage, which you generally will call court marriage, that they can have their divorce anywhere, like in a customary court, like even in a magistrate court. Family and friends, the answer is no. I wish the answer was yes, but interestingly, the answer is no. You can only do that divorce in a high court or in a high court of a state or the federal high court, right? I have seen clients who say, the procedure and process of high court self is too cumbersome, it's too this, it's too that. Can we not just go to a customary court and have those divorce? Family and friends, once again, the answer is no. If you have a statutory marriage, you can only do your divorce in two places, either the High Court of the state or the Federal High Court. Now, there is also a misconception that people have that once my partner and I, we have lived separately apart for a long time, it means that we are divorced. Let me bust that bubble. No matter how long you live apart. If the two of you have been married, if the two of you have been separated for the last 50 years, in the eyes of the law, you are still married. If the two of you have been separated for the last 30 years, 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, in the eyes of the law, you are still married until you are declared divorced, until the court issues an order decree nisi or an order decree nisi made absolute, until the court issues an order decree nisi made absolute, you are still married. If you have an affair with another person, it's adultery. If you have a relationship with another person, it's adultery. If you marry another person, it is unlawful. Some states criminal law calls it bigamy. The Marriage Act calls it a crime, an offense for which you will suffer punishment of prison term, right? So separation never automatically become divorce, right? So you should know that about statutory marriage. Interestingly, even under customary marriage, even under customary law, there's not a policy that says that separation ever becomes divorce. Separation never ever becomes divorce under customary law. Because divorce in customary law is either, as some states' laws have it, the customary court declares you divorced, or the bride price is returned. Do you understand? So if the bride price is not returned, or a customary court does not declare the marriage dissolved, even if you have lived apart for 50 years, it is not divorce. Right, so you should understand that misconception that under statutory marriage, separation, no matter how long, can never automatically become divorce. If you know this, because rather you may have family and friends right now who may be thinking that they are divorced and they have lived separately apart for such a long time, you may want to go and tell them and say, hey, my friend, you are not yet divorced, so better go and do a proper divorce, right? You are not yet divorced in any way. Okay, so let's continue with some misconceptions. I just want to run through some of the other misconceptions I have so that I can take your questions and we'll be able to answer. Now, I've heard some men say that court marriage is for people that are not trusted, that if my wife trusts me, why would my wife be insisting that we should have a court marriage? Hey, it is because I trust you, I want you to have it, right? Because the truth about it is that the reasons why we have boundaries is so that we do not violate the boundaries, number one, and others do not violate our boundaries. Right. So it is not just for us, it is also for others. Now, it is legal protection for the two people. So men should stop seeing it as statutory marriage only protects them. I'm a family lawyer and I get to do lots of these cases. I was not in court today. I was actually in school because I'm pursuing a PhD, right? And but I was in court yesterday, and trust me, it was a customary court in Kubwa, Abuja. We had a matter yesterday, and I was monitoring the matter, following up on the matter, doing the matter by proxy. So I had a counsel in court, but I was on standby. I was following and listening to what was happening in court and giving my inputs, giving everything thereabout. And I have to say that clearly, if men understood how much the Marriage Act protects them, if they understood how much the Marriage Act protects them, they would go for it. So it is not actually for partners who don't trust themselves. It is for people to protect themselves, protect the sanity and the dignity and the sacredness of their union. Some people believe that if a spouse cheats under statutory marriage, the marriage is automatically dissolved, but the answer is no. Yes, adultery is a ground for divorce under statutory marriage, right? Adultery is a ground for divorce under statutory marriage, but interestingly, it is not automatic, right? You must come to say you want a divorce based on it, and you also prove it, right? Even under customary law these days, it is still a ground if you can prove it, right? I've heard people say, oh, statutory marriage stops domestic violence. family and friends, as a family lawyer, I can tell you clearly, and also as a counseling psychologist, that it does not stop any domestic violence at all. It does not. In fact, because our rules and our laws regarding domestic violence has to do with Nigerians in general, irrespective of the type of marriage you have. So no matter the type of marriage you have, one, it is the same law on domestic violence that applies to everybody, no matter the type of marriage you have. The same law on domestic violence apply to everybody. And statutory marriage does not in any way stop domestic violence, because the law will not come and hold your husband's hand, neither will it come and hold your wife's hand or hold each other's mouth. It does not stop abuse, right? It does not, I will not even say it takes away the fear of abuse. It does not even take away the fear of abuse these days, because people now know that, see, no matter the type of marriage you have, there are laws and the laws govern, right? Okay. Another one again is that
What are
some
you
people
doing?
have let me use this as the last thing that I'll share because of our time. In about 5 minutes, I'll have spoken for about 1 hour. So let me just stop like this. That the people who think that how will I say it now? People just have misconceptions about statutory marriage to believe that, oh, now who do statutory marriage? Now I really marry. Now I really marry. See my ring, see my paper, you know, and I want to explain to the misconception with the fact that some people feel that
Thank you,
once
man.
they seize, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Some people feel that once they seize the marriage certificate like this, their spouse cannot do anything again. There are cases that we are doing right now that one partner took hold of the marriage certificate with the belief that if they have the marriage certificate, their spouse cannot divorce them. Who is that musician that did that song several years ago that says, I wish, I wish, I wish? All right, like you are just so on your own, because your spouse can do any of this. Your spouse can go back to the marriage registry and ask for a certified true copy. If your spouse has a picture of it, your spouse can, some judges accept a picture of it. If you have wedding pictures, I have a picture of that marriage certificate, right? Some courts accept it. Sometimes the court can order you to bring the marriage certificate. And when you refuse to bring the marriage certificate, it is now more grounds and sufficient grounds for the court to believe that you actually have it and you are just being evil, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, daddies and mommies, professors, lawyers, corporate workers, business owners, students here present, and to say a very thank you for listening to me and for joining me into this session. If you do not mind, I will want to take your questions and I will want to take your comments. Are we still there? Can you still hear me?
Can I talk, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for that inciting lecture, very incisive too. But thank you very much for your wealth of knowledge on this. While you were talking, it's like you were saying all those things that I've met even in court, all the misconceptions and all that. Now I have a situation. A petitioner went to court to file a petition, and then he didn't file the marriage certificate with it. And it was going on like that. But I know of judges, and all judges should do this, do not grant a divorce without a certificate.
True.
And then
What are you doing? Abigail, bring your uniform.
Mercy,
Hello?
can you unmute yourself, please? Kindly mute yourself, please. Mercy, kindly mute yourself, please. Sorry for that
So,
interjection, sir.
so a filed without a marriage certificate, and now the court is asking him to go and get a marriage certificate, to bring that marriage certificate, or the marriage will not be dissolved, which is our position too. But he now said he went to the registry and they asked for the photograph of our own client, without which they would not issue a certified copy. And our client is not willing to cooperate with that. What else can you do? Because they asked for the photograph of our clients.
Okay.
Hello?
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for that question, sir. Thank you so much for that question, sir. Now, number one, the marriage registry, the court is right, because what actually gives the court jurisdiction to be able to adjudicate over a divorce matter is a marriage certificate. The marriage certificate is the evidence that what they have is a statutory marriage. Because if what they have is not a statutory marriage, then the court does not have jurisdiction to try such a matter. So what the court will usually do is that, yes, you may file without it, but you have to produce it at the end of the day. If not, we'll claim that we don't have jurisdiction. So the marriage registry was wrong. Ordinarily, it's supposed to go to the marriage registry and apply for the certified true copy. The marriage registry was wrong to ask him to bring the photograph of the partner, because there is no condition for that. All he needs to do in that situation, that I would do in that situation, is that in applying for that, the CTC of the marriage registry, in applying for the CTC of the marriage registry, the application should be via letter, right? So write to them, let them receive the letter. When they receive the letter, and they come up, yes, when they receive the letter and they are making that demand for photograph, tell them that if they can make that demand for photograph by order. If not, I'll take them back to court and join them as a party to the suit. I'll join them as a party to the suit that they are refusing to issue me a CTC of my marriage certificate on the grounds that I did not give them a photograph of my spouse. You understand it now? The moment the marriage...
That's good. That's cool. Go on.
Yes. The moment the marriage registry know that you are going to do so, they will sit up and behave immediately. Right? The moment they know that right now you are going to be joining the marriage registrar, you are going to be joining the marriage registrar as a party to the suit for the court to order him to produce it. Either you are joining the person or you are wanting to ask for a subpoena to have the person joined, right? To have the person to come and testify, they will behave. Now, another way to go about it, which is one of the popular and most common way we use, is if the other party is in court. So we have filed now, we have served the other party, and the other party has showed up in court, right? I can't remember the case just slipped off right now, but there are actually judgments that say a situation where the other party does not dispute that what they have was a statutory marriage, the court has jurisdiction. So, because we have seen cases like that, let me remember one particular case that we did in Shagamu. We went to the marriage registry for us to go and get the CTC of the marriage certificate. And now they said that the former office where they were using had weather, fire, and flood issues that destroyed most of their records. And because they don't have those back-end records, they cannot issue CTC over something they don't have back-end records for. Do you understand it now? So now we now have to use other things. So if we have photographs that we took on that day, if we had photographs of husband and wife and photographs of being a family over time, the court can safely presume that a statutory marriage was conducted.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
understand it now? Now, the only issue will be if one party comes up and says, we don't have a statutory marriage. But if both
Yeah.
parties come up and they say, yes, we truly had this marriage, so day at so place, and so, there's at least two judgments of the superior court on that the court is supposed to presume that a proper marriage had happened. But in this kind of situation, I just join you as a party. In fact, I don't need to. I don't need to waste time. I'll just join you as a party.
At
Yes,
least they'll present their records in court.
yes. When I join you as a party, then by that time you know that it is serious. Come and tell the court that the reason why you are refusing to give me a CTC of my certificate is because I did not bring the photograph of the other person. Right? Yes. Then if the other person is there, you can just ask the court, even in the petition, if you are sure that your partner has a copy of it. I have seen judges that have accepted the photocopy of the marriage certificate, not
No, if
even
you
the
have a
CTC.
photocopy of it and you tender it, it's okay.
Yes.
If you can explain where the original is,
Yes.
or if it's lost, you can use that. If
It will
we
just go
had
straight
it,
to.
we would have tendered our own, and he won't have any reason to bring his own.
True.
But we
True.
didn't tender it because it's with him.
True.
So,
True.
thank you so
Yes,
very
no
much.
sir. You're welcome,
Let me
sir.
leave
Thank you, sir.
the room for other people to ask. Otherwise, I want to pick your brain on another one. I've read about
Okay.
it. And it's for the education or further study of most of us that are here. I'm sure
Okay.
most people will know, but I'm agitated about it, and I've read
Okay.
about it, and I
Yes.
know the answer already. But when I'm ready, I can ask that one. Or if you
Okay,
want
no
me to
problem, sir.
now.
There's
Okay.
Olashiku. So Olashiku has been raising his hand or her hand. Once I'm done with Olashiku, I'll come back to you, sir. How about that,
Okay.
sir? Thank you so much,
Okay.
sir. Please, O.R. Olashiku, I hope I pronounced the name correctly. Forgive me. All the abula I've been eating have not bettered my Yoruba.
No, there's no problem. You're actually on track. Kudos to that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, my question is kind of partly answered because
Okay.
I was in court the other day. I said I'm a legal practitioner also. I
Okay,
experienced something similar to what you just raised about the counsel was to file the divorce without the marriage certificate because he or she could not find the marriage certificate. They went down to the registry as at then. It was being noted that the registry got burnt. There is nothing they could actually do about it. So there was an argument that okay, if that the law actually said that photograph, just like you rightly mentioned, can actually be tendered to actually show that such a marriage actually existed.
Yes.
However, in this particular case, Maylord actually agreed, but said that at the point of filing that suit, the marriage certificate is actually really, really essential at the point of filing that suit. That's what the law says, and she cannot continue with that matter without the marriage certificate. So with that, the suit ought to be was now dismissed. So I was not like, the suit was dismissed. Maylord has to withdraw the suit. Because the marriage certificate was that even at the point of filing, that if the registrars actually know what they're actually doing, at the point of filing, they would have actually not accepted that suit for filing in the first place without the photocopy of the marriage certificate.
Well,
So
what is the essence? Sorry to interject. Sorry to come in. The question becomes, what is the essence of attaching the marriage certificate? We have to come back to when we are talking about interpretation of rules. I want to look at the mischief rule, right? We want to look at what is the essence of filing this certificate. Why does the law require us to attach the certificate, right? The law requires us to attach the certificate to give the court jurisdiction, right? Jurisdiction in the sense that this court can only adjudicate on statutory marriage. So when you see that marriage certificate, it makes you understand that, oh, this is statutory marriage. Okay, fine. But right now, that did not happen. But we are already in court. And while we are already in court, we cannot prove that it's a statutory marriage. I don't understand that judge's technicality. I find it very confusing. right? I find the judge's technicality very confusing because the whole essence of attaching a certificate is to let you know that we have a statutory marriage. We did not attach it, but we are here before you and we can show you and prove to you that we have a statutory marriage. Why send us back? But you
Actually,
see,
the matter is undefended. I remember you said earlier that if both parties are actually in court and they can actually say that it was actually statutory, then the court can. But in this point, it was actually undefended.
number one, it is undefended. But was the other party
Yes.
in court? You know, I'm in court right now. I still filed a memorandum of appearance in a divorce petition yesterday, where my client is not willing to defend. So we are not filing anything in court beyond our memorandum of appearance, right? But we'll always be in court. I will always be in court on every adjourned date. But I'm not even, if you lead your witness, I don't have any intentions of cross-examining, right? So they may not defend, but are they in court?
No.
Oh, that okay. That is where they may not make it very difficult. So what I would advise such a, if that is the only court within that jurisdiction where you can file, if that's the only court within that jurisdiction where you can file, what I would suggest is that apply for leave. Apply for leave to file the petition. So the leave will now be that you don't have the marriage certificate, you don't have a copy of it, and you cannot get the CTC of it because the marriage registry was burnt, and so they cannot issue you a CTC, right? So you may want to get a letter, or a letter, more like a letter from the registry to actually say that, yes, our registry is burnt, we don't have records of these particular things. Then with that, you attach the photographs of marriage that you have. If you have photographs of marriage, you have photographs for family, you attach it, right? And you use it to apply for leave. So if the judge grants that leave, so now it means that you have given the judge the opportunity to hear your argument regarding the absence of the marriage certificate. So if the judge grants that leave, based on the order of that leave, your petition will not be able to continue. So if you don't want to file in another court, right, you may want to just use leave.
Okay.
Yes, you may want to go by way of leave, apply for leave. You know, the same way you'd have applied for leave to file for a divorce that is within 2 years of marriage, right?
Yes.
Yes, the way you apply for leave to file for divorce within 2 years of marriage. So use that same kind of leave based on the inherent jurisdiction of the court. And yes, just simply based on the inherent jurisdiction of the court, the principle of fair hearing, and just use and attach your petition to it. Attach maybe a letter from the registry to show that it was truly burnt. Attach photographs to it, and let the court hear the leave.
Okay, thank you very much. I would appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, Prof, sir.
Enjoy it. Maybe
I don't know if Prof is still here with us.
I have to just go and close.
Okay.
Hello. Okay. Let them go on. Let them go on.
Okay. I know that Dayo or Dejobi, you said you wanted to say something. Can you unmute yourself, please?
Yes. I want to say something. Can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
Yeah. My name is Dayo Odejobi. I'm an estate surveyor.
Okay.
I practice in Abuja. I'm a consultant with development control, and I have prepared so many documents for couples. I want you to enlighten us how to properly write names of couples on a property, like the legal way and the most acceptable way.
Okay.
And early in the year, Barrister Motolani sent me on an errand here in Abuja, and it was it was majorly about this discussion that we are having. I think there was a case she was handling, and she needed the document here in Abuja. And I was doing the up and down for her. And I discovered that then the places I went to, they told me, they thought
Is it my network? I've
on
stopped
in the
hearing Mr. Dayo.
background. Yes. Yeah, you said?
I stopped hearing you at a time. You
Oh,
mentioned that the place where she sent you to, that was the last thing I heard.
okay. They thought they were saying something like, if you want to travel out to some country,
Yes.
the kind of certificate you need, marriage certificate you need, is the one maybe in Ikoyi or the one in Abuja. That even if we have the one in your local government, they will bounce you and they will not collect it. I think
Okay.
that
Okay.
that's more of the reason people go to those places, because when you want to use it abroad, they only accept the one for Ikoyi, that Ikoyi, and the one in Abuja, to be
Okay.
precise. Yeah.
Okay. Let's do it like this. Um, let's do it like let me explain it like this. We've had we have had like three major jackpot waves, right? We had a major jackpot wave in 2015, where many people were thinking that the country was going to go into war because that Jonathan may not hand over, right? We had a major ones, and the other two major ones that have happened in this Tinubu and Buhari's era, right? Now, over time, before now, these foreign countries, their knowledge about Nigeria marriage law was low. Do you understand it? If you remember, there was a time that the case had to go to court. Who had the power to issue certificates between the federal government versus the local government, right? That who actually had the power to issue certificates. I have had to write legal opinion to some immigration offices, to some home offices and immigration offices, when they challenge some of our clients, they challenge people's marriage certificates abroad, and those people had to consult our office, and I wrote legal opinion. And when I wrote legal opinion on the certificates they had, the immigration services and the home offices accepted. You understand it? So take for example, most people who were traveling abroad, especially the people that suffered it the most, were our Muslim brothers and sisters. Most people who were practicing abroad needed certificate to prove that they were married. So most people who did not want to have statutory marriages, especially our Muslim brothers and sisters, who did not want to have statutory marriages based on the Marriage Act, and most people who had been married for several years because they want to have only a customary marriage, were now forced to have a statutory marriage. Why were they forced to have a statutory marriage? So that they will have a marriage certificate to show. But I can tell you right now that most of these home offices abroad now even accept our customary marriage. They now accept our customary marriage certificates. In fact, it is because they now accept our customary marriage certificates that made me realize, that made me to start studying from state to state. In this particular state, how do you get the customary marriage certificate? In this particular state, where do you go to get the customary marriage certificate? Sometimes I have to go to the Ministry of Justice, their library, to go and be reading about their old laws. I want to get the laws of the states and go and check different laws. In fact, there's one law that most people don't even know about. The name of the law is Validation of Marriage Act. Almost every region in this country actually has that law. It's called Validation of Marriage Act. They were laws passed by the different regions of Nigeria in the days of regional government to validate all the marriages that existed even before the Marriage Act came into force. Right? So when they brought those laws to me and the rest, in fact, I remember one legal opinion that I had to write on, because the Home Office wrote our client and told our client that her order decree nisi made absolute was fake and was not proper because it was signed by the registrar of the court and not by the judge of the court. So I had to bring the statutes. I had to bring up, in my legal opinion, bring out all the laws and bring out, if I remember then, judgments that actually says that it is the registrar of the court that issues order decree nisi made absolute. It is not the judge. It is the registrar of the court that issues it. So her document was proper and valid because it was properly issued by the authority that is supposed to issue it. And you know, these home offices, they now retain Nigeria law firms these days. Right? So because they retain Nigeria law firm these days, these law firms are also educate them to say, oh, this certificate is proper or this thing is proper. This applies, is a tandem with our laws, right? And then, like I usually tell people who try to do fake things and the rest, I usually tell them, be very, very careful. Because these days, when these foreign embassies and the rest, home office, they are trying to verify documents, especially divorce certificates, divorce judgments, other decree nisi and other decree nisi made absolute. When they are trying to verify them, they don't just come to court and say they want the CTC of it. They apply for the CTC of the full court process. So they apply for the full court process. They want to see the divorce petition. They want to see the matter be set down for hearing, or if it's not set down for hearing, there was defense. They want to see the trial, and they want to see the judgment, the judgment of the court, right? Then regarding how couples are supposed to write their names on documents, there are different opinions regarding it, but the most safe side of it is that if you want to write, or a husband and wife want to write their name on the document. So, for example, let me use my example. My name is Alright Egbe, and the name of my wife. Okay, no, mine is easier because my wife and I don't use the same surname, right? My wife and I, we don't use the same surnames, so it is easy. It's easier. But for people that use the same surname, so let's assume my wife was Vivian Alright, and I am Alright Egbe, right? Some people will just, no, my wife is Vivian Alright, and I'm Alright Egbe. That's the name she use. But let's assume my wife was Vivian Egbe. You see people say Mr. Alright and Vivian Egbe, or Mrs. Vivian and Mr. Alright Egbe. That is wrong. As much as possible, write out the full names of the person. Mr. Alright Egbe and Mrs. Alright Egbe. Write out the full names of the couple on the particular document so that they can clearly be identified. What if the man or the woman, the man have divorced and married another wife? The two women will still be Mrs. his surname if the first wife has not changed surname, right? So it is the safest option is to write the full names of both parties. So if you write the full names of both parties, that's just the safest way to handle it. I'll say that's the safest way to handle it. So I don't know if any other person has any other question.
Well, can I come on now?
Yes, sir. Please do, sir.
Okay. Mine is just it's a real case, but I will make it like an hypothetical one.
Okay, sir.
A man walks out of a marriage 4 years ago, leaving the wife and two small kids. Before he got married to the woman, he had built a house. But
Before he married the woman, he built the house. Okay.
He built the house, even though the woman was in the picture, but you know the normal thing, his name only was there on the document. So, but he walked out of the marriage to go and settle with other women. He's got issues with other women. So he got married, rented the place, and is staying with another woman, living with and the small children with her. So now we went to court for divorce. We've been gone for 4 years. He deserted us for 4 years.
Okay.
Now they're trying to. We want to do a term of settlement. I mean, settle the custody and all that. Now he's asking for the house.
Mhm.
In that situation, what will the court do in
Okay,
that situation? They still live in the house with his children.
in this situation, now we are talking about settlement of property. So we are actually talking about
Yeah.
settlement of marital property. No, not marital property, settlement of property. I would give an explanation and make reference to a judgment of the Oyo State High Court, right? Given by the given by the former High Judge, CJ, right? This is it. Now, every property owned before the marriage, or every property inherited in the marriage, does not form family property.
Okay.
When it comes to settlement of properties.
Okay.
However, following the story is that this woman was already in the picture when that house was being built. If she contributed to it, if she contributed to it directly, the court may be tempted to see it as family property or see it as a contract based on her direct contribution to the property. But if she did not directly contribute to the property, and that property was purchased or bought or developed before the marriage, it cannot form family property, matrimonial property under settlement of properties.
Okay.
However, so we will not bring it, the wisdom will be not to bring it under family property, under matrimonial property. The wisdom will be to bring it under the welfare of the children. And that was the welfare of the children is that since the children live, yes, the utmost children of these children is that these children, they were, you know, the court will always look at the variety interests of the children. And now the court will look at what was the state of life and state of welfare and state of well-being and state of social status that these children enjoyed before the marriage. Right? So now, in considering that, the argument will now be that since this is where the children they were born, the children they were raised, and they are living here, we are going to be asking that this property should be given to the children until all of them they grow up and they leave the house. Or, for example, we should leave the property until when they grow up and leave the house, and maybe perhaps we should leave the property for the inheritance of the children. But no, the inheritance of the children will not fly. That one will not fly. But that as part of their welfare, as part of the welfare that their father is supposed to contribute to them, this house should be part of the welfare their father is supposed to contribute.
In fact, the woman had partitioned the house with her own money so that she can put tenants to pay for the school fees of this children.
If she did that,
the woman, with the consent of the man.
Even if it's without the consent of the man to a large extent, even if it was without the consent of the man, the court will see it as she did it in good faith.
In good faith. This man has not brought in a penny for the past 4 years.
She did it in good faith. So,
you have answered my question.
She did it in good faith. So the best interest of children is just the only challenge about it is that she cannot remarry.
No, she
and
can't.
Bring somebody into that house.
No. We understand all that.
She should also be planning that by the time these children leave, the man can also argue that he's no longer indebted to these children, and so the house that is for their welfare can no longer still be taken from him. That's an argument that can be brought up in the future. Because the interesting thing about it is that anything that has to do with children and do with welfare never ends. I am in court right now. We are in court for the 4th time over the welfare of children. We are in court for the 4th time. So it is the Court of Appeal. We have several judgments that say it is a continuous reoccurring situation.
Yeah.
It's a continuous reoccurring situation. So by the time the last kid attains adulthood, and in Nigerian law right now, we have a problem with what is adulthood when it comes to family law. When it comes to family law. Family law under the Matrimonial Causes Act regards adulthood as 21.
However,
yes, for the sake of welfare and custody and the rest, 21. However, the Child's Rights Act and the various child's rights law and the Constitution puts it at 18. So I have a case right now, and we've had other cases like that, and we'll come to argue that if this person is an adult and you say we cannot make decisions about this adult because the person is an adult, we can also be responsible for this person's welfare. The Constitution says that this person is yes. So the question now becomes, when there is another law that is inconsistent with the Constitution. So the Matrimonial Causes Act is inconsistent with the Constitution in that aspect. If this person is an adult, I cannot make decisions on his behalf. I cannot make decisions and choices on his behalf. I cannot demand some certain things on his behalf. He does not need parental consent for many things and the rest. You cannot expect me to be responsible for his welfare.
That's true.
So that's the argument we now bring up these days, Andres. So if you want me to be responsible for his welfare, then you must also order that I have parental rights and privileges over him. If I don't have parental rights,
we allow that. As a matter of fact, we allow him to come and pick them over the weekend sometime, and they bonded, So he cannot say we didn't allow him that because the court ordered it.
He will not get the house. It's to bring the house under. He will not get the house if we bring it under the welfare of the children. If we bring it under family property,
that's
we'll have challenges. Okay, sir.
That's exactly our point. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Somebody was asking about double-decker marriage.
Let me check. Bumi Aguda. Yes.
You have explained it in the manner of the Yoruba marriage that will do customary, and then we'll go to the registry and all that. You have explained it already, except if the person is not satisfied.
Well, if you're not satisfied, double-decker marriage is just to the extent that a situation where a person has more than one form of marriage. Most people usually have more than one form of marriage because they feel that one is not enough, or they want to please every person. So you see the person that has statutory marriage, he wants to please the elders of his village and the elders of his family, and still chooses to have a customary marriage. And because the person wants to please their church, please their pastors, and please their church and the rest, they still choose to have a church wedding. So double-decker, the whole idea of double-decker marriage just is to the fact that you have 2 or 3 forms of marriage side by side. Now, this is what it says. Until the recent decision of the Court of Appeal that is still being challenged right now, no matter the types of marriages you have, the statutory marriage is what supersedes others. It supersedes other form of marriages. Now, this is where you get it clearly. It supersedes other forms of marriages where there is conflict. Right? So where there is conflict. So for example, is that what are those places where you see that, there's conflict here or there's conflict there? The places where you see all those conflicts is when it comes to multiple spouses, right? So you cannot take a second wife. You cannot take a second husband unless you are first of all divorced. Number 2 to that is that how the properties will be shared when somebody dies. It will no longer be based on customary law. Right now, it will now be based on on statutory law, right? On the different laws on property. Now, when it comes to divorce, who will take the children? Under customary marriage, it is the man that automatically has the right to the children ordinarily. Well, that's before you apply the Child's Right Act. When you apply the Child's Right Act to it, the customary marriage will not happen. Mr. Adedayo, can you please mute yourself? And so now, right? Then also when it comes to the different things that who owns the children, what is it that must happen, this and that must happen. In fact, there was one misconception that people have that I did not mention. People think that if you have statutory marriage, the woman must change her surname. That the woman must change her surname under statutory marriage. That if you have statutory marriage, it means that the woman must change her surname. Well, a woman can change her surname anytime, whether she is single or she is married, and no matter the form of marriage she had. Then under statutory marriage, you don't actually need, I know some people say you need to be bearing your husband's name to actually prove that you are married. The basic and the most important proof of marriage is the marriage certificate. The basic and most important way to prove that you are married to any person is your marriage certificate. And you know the interesting thing? It is the woman's maiden name that is on the marriage certificate. So even if she has changed surname now, for her to prove that she is truly married to a man, she has to go and bring her marriage certificate that carries her maiden name. So it is not a must to change the name, because in your marriage certificate is even the maiden name that is here. You can choose to change your name to your husband's surname. You can choose to change your name to a compound name of your husband's first name and his surname, to a compound name of your father's surname and your husband's surname. Or you can choose to, take for example, my first name is Alright. And that's the surname of my wife. My wife uses Alright as her surname. So my wife, for example, is Vivian Alright. Meanwhile, I am Vivian, I am Alright Egbe. My children bear Egbe. My children answer my surname. I answer my surname, but my wife answers my first name as her surname. Right. So there's also it does not give any of that. So, but when it comes to double decker, where we get to see this difference is that's why I said it is where there's conflict. So when there's conflict between customary law and statutory law, the statutory marriage will supersede. Number of spouses you can have. When it comes to divorce, statutory law supersedes. Number of spouses you can have, statutory law supersedes. Property rights, statutory law supersedes. Inheritance, statutory law supersedes. Divorce, statutory law supersedes. So anything. So if you have a customary marriage and you have a statutory marriage, if there is any aspect of your life that there is conflict, you see the case that I made reference to, what was the conflict? The conflict had to do with inheritance, right? The man had an Islamic marriage and also had a statutory marriage. And the question was now like, based on inheritance, it is the statutory marriage that is supposed to supersede. And ordinarily, the statutory marriage is supposed to automatically invalidate the Islamic marriage that happened after the statutory marriage, right? That happened after the statutory marriage. But, the Court of Appeal, the Sharia Court of Appeal made their own decision differentiating. They made an erroneous decision, in my opinion, an erroneous decision because they were focused only primarily on distinguishing between Islamic and customary marriage, right? Then there's one final error, misconception again, I also see with many people. You see a man that has two wives, maybe under Islamic marriage or under customary marriage, and because they now want to travel with one, or because one has now rubbed their head, or because one, it is only that one's children that is not taking care of them, they will not take only one and go to marriage registry to go and do marriage, statutory marriage with that one person. The law forbids it and calls it an offense. That statutory marriage is void ab initio. It's not voidable, it's just even void ab initio. Because if you are married to two women, you cannot go and marry only one under statutory marriage. You cannot go and marry the two under statutory marriage. You cannot go and marry a third wife under statutory marriage. The law says you should remain married to them under customary law, unless you want to divorce one first before going to do the other. Thank you so much, everyone. Amatolani.
Okay.
Thank you so much for having me.
It is actually very nice to, see that it was quite engaging and for a minute, I was beginning to think that I'm really sure that we have not lost people that are not legal practitioners in this session because, it became intense at some point and we had more of legal luminaries coming up with issues, issues they wanted another view of a legal practitioner from. So I sincerely appreciate every one of us. I know that it's a busy period. If we are not relaxing right now, we're trying to, conclude on our week's activities and also it's fantastic to have us. And, I actually did not know that this particular topic is going to generate a lot of conversations around it. And, it's delightful to know that even though our target audience is non-lawyers trying to get the misconceptions out of the way, I'm happy that the lawyers are able to, connect with it, understand these things better. So I've learned a lot today too. So it's amazing to see that no knowledge is lost. We keep learning on a daily basis. And I want to appreciate my very own boss, my lecturer. He has always been there in the course of this journey of legal practice. It's someone that is willing to learn something new, always asking questions. I want to appreciate the presence of Professor Sunjo Ilade. I think it's the first time he's joining our webinar, and I'm sure that maybe the topic interested him a lot. He has piqued interest in it. I want to appreciate the legal practitioners present, Mrs. Olashiku. I've seen some. I think they left already. Mr. Jide Adeboale, Mr. Olikoye Ogutono, Mrs. Olikoye Ogutono. And some of our clients that they do not miss any of our webinars. In fact, some have reached out to me. Please resend the link. The likes of Mr. Balogun, Alaji Balogun, man. I'm so sorry. Alaji Balogun, man, he was quite busy, and I remember that he had reached out already, so I had to just drop a message that the webinar is on before we drag me. I want to appreciate Mrs. Deru for joining in, even though you are using a different name. Oh, okay, so she's saying she has a question. I want to appreciate Mrs. Latifat Adeniro. Thank you for joining. I want to appreciate Madam Mercy Akleye. I want to appreciate Oshun Gade Omoni, Ozone Baba. I want to appreciate, I'm not sure who this person is, Zoom user. I want to appreciate Yossi and every member of Daniel Chambers present. I want to appreciate Mr. Architect Ogumuyi. I want to appreciate Adelekon Adedayo. Oh, our tax consultant. I just realized who joined. Thank you very much for joining. Oh, sorry. It would really hurt me if I did not appreciate our very own profitable colleague, Mr. Excel Elebo. I'm hoping that I got it correctly. I want to appreciate Mr. Kolawole Omolade or Mrs. I'm not sure which of the Kolawoles joined them. And I think I've been able to cover everybody. I'm sure I missed some names that already left. Oh, I also appreciate our very own coach, BA. She joined shortly, Busola Jala. Thank you so much, our learned senior colleague. So I think we can take Mrs. Derry.
Yes, yeah.
She came and she left. If you comment, she hailed and I'm sure she's very busy. So she just had to join to show her support. So you can take. Oh, sorry, Mr. Bumi, physiotherapist Bumi Aguda. Sorry, I'm so sorry, my dear friend. So we can take a question. I'm sure we have about 3 minutes to go. So we can.
What's the question?
One more question.
Draw my attention to the question again.
Not seeing your question, ma'am. If you can send in your question so we can take it, because the meeting is scheduled to end by 4, and I know it's quite interesting, but we don't want to make it too long that people will not start falling out. It can be very busy.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Noya Musolani, for bringing this wonderful one to our table. I really appreciate this. And so I guess I appreciate you so much, sir. Thank you so much. May the Lord strengthen you more, sir.
Amen.
My question is, there was this say that I've been hearing so far that this has to do with the issue of divorce. That when it comes to divorce, it happens that divorce is coming from a human, that human will not benefit from the marriage. Sorry, I need you to enlighten us more concerning this. Is it truly that anyone that initiated the divorce option, is it truly that the person will be on the loser side or what? Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you so much for this question. Like, uh, the reason why I'm saying thank you for this question is that this is a question we deal with as counseling psychologists. All right. So I've had to answer this question more as a counseling psychologist than as a family lawyer. The good thing is that I'm both, so I can bring my knowledge, expertise, and experience from both fields, from both industry into this discussion right now. Any person who files the divorce, there's a misconception people generally have that it is the person that files the divorce that spends more. There's this misconception people have that it's the person that files divorce that spends more, which obviously is not true, which obviously is a lie. I don't know if you understand it now, right? Because what actually determines how expensive your divorce would be most of the time has to do with the lawyer that you choose. Right, and the expertise and the workload that lawyer will handle, and the expertise the person is bringing on board. The lawyer that you choose, the workload that the person will handle in the course of the divorce, and the expertise the person is bringing to the table. That's what's going to determine the cost, right? Secondly, after that, is that there's also this belief that people have that the person who files divorce is the one that loses more. Then some others think that the person who responds is the one that will lose more. That's not true. In reality, I still remember in counseling psychology, we will say that divorce is like a mini debt, right? It is a mini debt. So no matter who files for the divorce, both parties are losers, right? Because it is your union that has come to an end. First of all, we should realize that it is your union, your marriage, what you invested, your investment is the one that has come to an end. So it's not necessarily the woman or the man. But then we have what we call the social theory of marriage and the economic theory of marriage. We have the social theory of marriage, we have the economic theory of marriage. There are reasons why many people marry. And we'll come to see again and again that love is actually one of the least reasons why people marry. That I love this person is actually one of the least reasons. Yeah, it's usually based on their economic security, right? Their economic security, their social security. Like if I marry this person right now, will it improve my security? Right? Will it improve my social status? Will it improve my social rank? That's why you see people that want to be, I am Mrs. So and so, right? I am the son-in-law to so and so, or my wife is the so and so. Now that's a social theory. That's a social reason why that person is married. So it automatically means that if the social status of their spouse has been giving them certain social benefits, certain social rights, certain social privileges, if they divorce today, it means they are going to lose all of that. Right. Some people also marry because of the economic reasons, right? So I am earning 100K per month. This babe is earning 300K per month. If I marry this babe, it means that our income will be 400K per month. I'll be able to enjoy 400K benefits. She earns more. Like I've seen in some cases that you see that the couple, they go out on vacations a lot. Like let's assume a woman that likes doing things on Instagram. She likes on Instagram and TikTok. She likes showing you the places she goes on vacation, the things she does, that, and the rest. And most of these things are sponsored by her husband. Now, when she is divorcing, she's going to be concerned about, I am going to lose all of this. Right? So there's actually not one person. First of all, both parties are losers. But if over time people did not build themselves, if the reason for which you married this person, maybe you married this person because of social status, right? Social status, for those of us that are lawyers, some people just wanted to marry us because we are lawyers. They'll be calling her Mrs. Barrister. They'll be calling her, that's Barrister, so and so person's wife. So some babes liked us in those days just because we are lawyers, right? Now, if after marrying us, you don't build your own social power, your own social capacity, your own social reputation, then you will be a bigger loser at the end of the day, right? Because if that thing for which you married your spouse still exists, and over time you have not taken advantage of that thing enough to build your own, you will still be a great loser. So I can't say this person will be the biggest loser or that person will be the biggest loser. No. Whosoever fights the divorce may be a loser, right? Whosoever did not profit from the marriage will be a loser. Interestingly, I don't have plans to ever divorce from my wife. Not that she ever made any plans to say we get to talk divorce or have arguments or have all those issues and the rest. But from time to time, I still get to ask myself, what am I actually gaining from this marriage? I actually do. I want to take stock to, like, if I'm in this marriage, I'm contributing this to this marriage, I'm giving this to this marriage, I'm having to be this in this marriage. What am I getting back from this marriage? That is the social contract theory of marriage, right? We have the solemn sacred theory. I hope I'm getting this right. The solemn sacred theory means that people get married for solemn sacred reasons, right? Holy matrimony, right? This solemnization, is solemnization of this holy matrimony. There are people who their theory of marriage is, I married this person because God wants me to marry this person. And that's just it. I'm going to keep on being married to this person as long as God wants me to be married to this person. So if those people, for example, divorce, they may also feel that they have lost because they will feel that, they have sinned against God or they have done something, right? So everybody's a loser, first of all. Then the biggest loser is the one who did not develop, build, and grow himself or herself in the marriage to be able to still enjoy the social, the economic, and the etc capacity after the marriage. That's a big problem we are having with foreign marriages, right? So you see women divorcing and they are going, it's like alimony is the main thing. It's just like alimony is the main thing, nothing else, alimony, because they're like, if I marry this person for economic reasons, if I'm divorcing this person, I should not lose. So when you see people who are pursuing alimony big time, people who are pursuing spousal support, spousal maintenance big time, it tells you the theory under which they got married. They got married under the economic theory of marriage, right? If you see people who after divorce, if you see women, for example, who after divorce refuse to drop their husband's surname, it just tells you that one of the theories under which they got married was the social theory. If you see people who, it's not like they want to stay in the marriage. They don't want to stay in the marriage, yet they don't want to be divorced. So all those people who have been separated for 10, 20, 30 years, and yet 5 years, and yet they are not talking about divorce. It just gives you an idea that this person's theory of marriage is based on either the religious, sacred, holy solemnization marriage, right, that says that it is a sin for you to divorce. So they will neither be married nor be divorced. They will just be separated. And they'll still be keep on using, anytime they are feeling form, is still married, is still Mrs. But they are not in the marriage. They are not, in fact, they may not have even seen their spouse in the last 10 years. They may not have seen the person, whether in picture or in physical, in the last 10 years, but they are still feeling married. The moment you see people's life, it just tells you automatically the theory under which they married. right? So the person who has not built and developed on that theory in the marriage to now have a self-reputation, to now have a self-identity, that person may be the biggest loser at the end of the day. But at ground level, everybody's a loser. So I wouldn't know if I've answered you. Hello?
Yeah, she's still here. This is Deru. Has he answered you? Okay. I want to believe that you've answered.
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much, sir. I was trying to locate my mic. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so I see somebody saying there's no way he would not study law in this life. You're welcome. Lawyer in the making, lawyer in embryo, or is it lawyer in intention? I don't know which one to call you. It's quite interesting to see that every one of us had a good one. I don't know if we still have questions. It just occurred to me that as if I knew, I'm sure that it was the Holy Spirit ministering. I added 30 minutes while I was trying to schedule this meeting. I actually thought it was going to end by 4. So I confirmed and I saw that we had some extra time. So if you still have questions, you can send in your questions. And like I said in the comments, this webinar is a bi-monthly webinar. We were just hoping to give some form of education to anyone that cares to be interested. We see the need that we cannot just say we know it all. Even lawyers, I'm sure that lawyers have learned a lot in this session today. And when when lawyers started joining, I was like, well, these people want to come and bombard this session. But then after a while, I realized that everyone that joined, even the lawyers, joined because they saw the need to learn something new, and is delightful to know that we've learned those things. And even the non-lawyers really enjoyed the session, even though there are a lot of legal words that were used at some point. But they still felt carried along. They learned a lot from it. So that is why we do the bi-monthly webinar, and we are hoping that we'll keep equipping us with knowledge and we'll keep learning. If you have questions, do not hesitate to reach out to us or to Mr. Allright. And we are also hoping that we're not going to have webinar in December. We know that is festivity period, and towards the time that we're going to have the webinar, we'll be looking at Christmas already, and all this buying of chicken and the lights would disrupt the activity. So we would like to have a concentrated session. So we do not see the need to have December bi-monthly webinar. So we'll see you in January or February, depending on the topic and the facilitator to use. And we hope that if you have questions after now, you are not going to hesitate to reach out to us with your questions. You can slide into our DM on our social media handles or our WhatsApp account. So I think we have a question. Okay, do you want to speak with Mr. Allright? Someone is trying to communicate with you.
Yes, if the person wants to, I think I'm still sharing my screen, right?
Yes.
That has my details. Yes,
something is covering. There's something covering. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just my hand. I'm not.
Oh, something's covering it.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, let me just drop my details.
Yes, you can just.
Let me just drop details in comment section. So the person had to quickly pick it out before the class ends.
Yeah. So the person is saying that she disagrees with you about women not changing their husband's name for social reasons or for alimony in the case of divorce. Okay, so I can just say something about that. So while Mr. Wright was talking about the different reasons why certain things happen in after the marriage has been, exhausted, let me use that word. So I'm sure he spoke from research. Generally speaking, we know that maybe the non-lawyers don't know that for every general rule, there's always an exception. But he's saying from his research, from his consultation sessions, he's a family lawyer, so everything he does from master's to PhD is about family law. So he's simply saying that research has it that majority of the time, people that don't change surname, because they fall under the social, people that do this, they fall under the religious. So it doesn't mean that it covers everybody. It's just saying that majority of these numbers, these are the reasons they do it. Some people don't like to go through the stress of doing change of name. Some people don't like things for different reasons. So basically, as much as you do not have to agree with him, I just thought that we needed to understand from the perspective of a researcher. So data would say this is the number, like so percentage as agreed to this, so percentage. So when the percentage of that thing is higher, it becomes the acceptable research to be used in concluding that particular discussion. So I think I've been able to answer that part. Mr. Wright, if you have something to say on that.
Yes, you did. Thank you so much. And the fact is that I also get to work with marriages as a marriage counselor, right? I'm not the average person when people just say, oh, the person is a marriage counselor, the person is a marriage counselor. No, I'm not that type of marriage counselor. I have a master's degree in marriage and family life counseling. Like I have a master's degree in it. I have the Nigeria's counseling license that is from the Counseling Association of Nigeria, which is under the Counseling Practitioners Act, right? So by law, I'm a licensed marriage counselor, and by law, I'm also a family lawyer, right? So these are many of the things that we get to see out there. The exceptions exist, but the theories on a wide scale, they do exist. Yes, some people may not agree with certain things because there are still exceptions, and the truth about it is that knowledge is progressive. But I like the way Daniel addressed it by saying, if we are to go by percentage, right? If we are to go by percentage, if a woman is coming out from a terrible man, she says, my husband is dead, my husband.
We are not hearing you again. Can you hear us? Am I the only one that cannot hear you?
Official name. It is still in reference to the
Okay, I think your network is acting up. We cannot hear you.
Oh, no problem. It's raining here now. It's raining heavily.
Oh, the network is fluctuating. Okay. So I want to believe that we've learned so much today. And like I said, if you have further questions, you can reach out to us on our social media handles or our WhatsApp account. And I sincerely appreciate every one of us for taking time out to join this session. I'm sure we've learned more than one thing. Yeah, I'm definitely sure of that because I've learned a lot too. So till we see you again, thank you. God bless you and have a fantastic weekend ahead of you. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance from the angle of webinar sessions. Thank you.